What is up, everybody? Welcome to the dungeon. I am here to do tarot readings for all the zodiac signs for the next week. We're going to see what's going on with the general energy of the zodiac signs. We're going to see what's going on with the love energy of the zodiac signs. We're going to check everything out, okay, you guys? So, that being said, I'll be pulling one card for the overall energy, your overall general energy. And then separately, I will pull another card for your love life because everyone wants to know about love, but not everybody has love in their life. So let us go ahead and hop into it. Things going on over here. Let's see what's going on with Aries. What is going on with Aries over the next week? What kind of energy will Aries encounter over the next week? What's going on with Aries? Soon we will find out. Okay. Aries, you have the Ace of Pentacles. So you may be given an opportunity from which you have the potential for great success. If you have not been given this already, you may be offered this or may have been offered this. I would say be wary of having a raunchy attitude or a foul attitude because this could get in the way of your success with this opportunity. Some of you may be going back to school or just really focusing on furthering your education. Okay, let's see what is going on in your love life. What's going on with Aries in their love life over the next week? What is going on with Aries in their love life over the next week? Aries, you have the Knight of Pentacles. So with this Knight of Pentacles energy, things are moving kind of slow. You're impatient with that. You're not really digging, having to wait. But you must take your time to find success in this situation. If you have been seeing somebody, or you have just met somebody, it may seem like this person might be good and be compatible with you, but then all of a sudden something happens to where the communication stops. Perhaps somebody is ghosted, be it you or them, and so there's a growth that is stunted there. If you are in a committed relationship and everything is doing good, I think you guys might be in a very good period of growth right now. And it's just your relationship has not been perfect, but it's finding success because it's slow and steady, which is definitely a positive challenge for you, Aries, because you don't like to move slowly. So if you are able to embody patience to bring some form of success into your life, well, that's a really good sign because everybody could use a little patience, right? Okay, let's move on to Taurus. All right, what is going on with Taurus over the next week? Oh, wait a second, you guys. Here we go. We're rocking now. All right, let's get a card for Taurus. Let's see what kind of energy Taurus will encounter over the next week. Taurus, you have the Six of Pentacles. So you may be involved in a situation where you are, or you feel as if you are putting in a lot of work, a lot of effort, and you are not seeing an equitable amount of reward. And this is very frustrating. I mean, you can only go so hard before you start to break. And you're getting to a point where you're starting to break. But I kind of feel like in the situation beginning to break is not, right now, it's not as devastating as it sounds. It's like the cracks are forming. You can see the cracks basically. And it's like you want to address the situation with the Six of Pentacles before it gets any worse. So you may actually be taking the time to like step up and verbalize your concerns and try to maybe work on a different contract, etc., etc. Some of you may have to take out a loan and you may be just having a difficult time paying it back. Let's see. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Taurus. Alright, what is going on in Taurus's love life over the next week? Let's see what's up. Taurus, you have the Emperor. So I feel like you may be dealing with some controlling behavior. Your partner may be taking advantage of you. Perhaps you're not really the most assertive person. Um, but you may be dealing with somebody who is definitely benefiting off of what you were doing, what you are giving. And not only are they benefiting from this without putting an equal amount of effort in, um, they are very controlling. They have a lot of control over this situation, and it's very uncomfortable. Now, if you are this person who is controlling, I would highly advise you to dial it back, take a step back, put more effort into your relationship, not in terms of trying to control the other person, like in terms of nurturing it, like just doing nice things for each other, taking an interest in each other. I want to say that there may be some relationships where the commitment is coming to a point where it's deepening, but I would be very careful of the dynamic here because I can't help but shake the feeling that one person may be taking advantage of the other person. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you feel like somebody is taking advantage of you, do something about it. Don't don't let it happen. I know that's easier said than done. Okay. Let's see what's going on with Gemini. What kind of energy will Gemini encounter over the next week. What is going on with Gemini? Gemini, you have the Eight of Cups here. So you may find that you need to leave a situation, you don't really want to, very reluctant to walk away. But this is a situation that causes you a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. It just makes you feel very unstable. And that is why you feel like it's more important to walk away from this situation than it is to kind of stay. It's not healthy. And some may take your behavior as like lack of dedication or lack of commitment. And perhaps it comes off that way, but really it's about self-preservation and you being aware of what you can handle and what you can't handle, and just kind of sticking up for yourself, even if that involves walking away, like not sticking up, not necessarily being confrontational and fighting, just like walking away, like, okay, this is how it's going to be. All right, I'm just going to remove myself from the situation. Whichever scenario, this is very hard because you do care about this. You really care a lot about this, but you cannot deny the chaos it brings to your life and your state of mind. So it's kind of like if you have not already, you are thinking heavily about leaving this situation. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Gemini. What is going on in Gemini's love life? What's up in Gemini's love life? Gemini, you have the Magician. So if you're single, you're trying to manifest a relationship. You've been really focused on this, and perhaps too focused, and to the point where it's become unhealthy for you to focus so much on this, because if things aren't working out, they haven't been working out, you're thinking a lot about how they haven't been working out, and it's driving you crazy, and it may be feeling some self disgust that may have been latent, or maybe not so latent, you know. Um, in some situations, there may have been, it may seem like there's something in your love life that is starting to begin, like a potential new relationship, but it like comes on super, super fast and it just doesn't feel right. Um, and if it has not already begun, the cracks will show. And again, this is a situation where you feel like you need to maybe remove yourself, because like before it gets too chaotic, because it's like happening so fast. There's a lot of stuff going on. You don't know how you feel about it. You just know you're really stressed out and uncomfortable with this situation. Like, I think something doesn't feel right about what's going on. And so it's like, I know, I don't know. There's a certain level of manipulation that is involved here, and you cannot help but deny that. You cannot ignore that. You cannot turn a blind eye. You want to. That's the thing. That's why you're having such a hard time, is because you want to. You really want to be able to make this work, turn a blind eye, etc., etc. But you can't shake this feeling, and it's really stressing you out. And you kind of feel like the only way you stop stressing about it is if you address the situation. But I think this person may be a smooth talker. So there's going to be a lot of confusion you'll be dealing with this week. I'm sorry that doesn't clear it up. I'm just saying, you're not crazy. That's what I'm saying. You're not crazy. I don't know if somebody is telling you that, but like in regards to the way you feel, you're not crazy. You do really feel that way. And it is happening as a result of the way somebody is treating you, and you are not imagining the way they're treating you. So it's happening. Okay. Moving on to Cancer. Let's see what is going on with Cancer. What kind of energy will Cancer encounter over the next week? What is going on with Cancer over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter? What's going on with Cancer? Okay, you have the Ten of Pentacles. So Cancer, you're really focused on your home life, you're really focused on your job, your means to provide for your family, the people around you, the people you care about and love the most. And, just making sure that you got all your bills paid. So maybe that time of the month where you get paid. So you may be spending a lot of money this week. Be careful not to go a little overboard because you're so happy to have money. Um, and yeah, just in general, you may be having trouble saving because you're so excited to have money, and maybe there are things you justify you needing that you do need, but maybe you don't really need as badly as you think you need it. Like you may need to save money more. You're just having a hard time discerning the two because I want. Like you have the I want, and you may be battling the I want. You just want everybody around you to feel comfortable. You want to feel comfortable. You just want so much, don't you, Cancer? Family is just so important to you. So important to you. And you may be feeling extra nurturing this week. We have the Tower, Cancer. So there is a thought process about a relationship in your life that is going to change. Something will happen, an occurrence, somebody saying something, and it completely changes your perspective about your relationship or situationship. Um, in some cases, you may feel as if, well, it's falling apart. There's some of you who may feel like your relationship is falling apart. Something massive has occurred that it's like this is going to take some hard work and dedication to get through. And you're not quite certain how you want to move forward because what has occurred could potentially be traumatic. And so it's kind of like you want to save the relationship or situationship, but what has happened may make it to where it's like not salvageable. Maybe a situation where you thought something would happen, but then it didn't. And you didn't expect that because as far your perspective, things were going good, you know. And in order to kind of cope with these feelings, you are kind of focusing on your family. And if you are not a family person, you're focused on the people around you and kind of showing them love, affection, taking care of them to just make you feel better about what has occurred, because you don't want to feel so bad. Like, you're not quite running from the emotions, you're just kind of, I guess, self-medicating with your family. I don't know if one should say self-medicating, but that's kind of what I do mean. It's like, it makes you feel better to be around them. You just feel better no matter how shitty you feel. You feel better around your people. So, right. Let's move on to Leo. What is going on with my Leos over the next week? What kind of energy will Leo encounter over the next week? What is going on with my Leos? Leo, you have the Six of Wands. You may be getting a lot of attention, potentially unexpected, but even though it makes you feel good, it makes you uncomfortable at the same time, because maybe you're not used to attention, or even if you do get a lot of attention, you may be very uncomfortable with it, you know? Um, if there has been, if you have been really fighting super hard for something, you may start to see some improvement here, some success, which is very exciting, because nobody likes to see their hard work go to waste, right? So you may be trying to celebrate that. Somebody is noticing you. Like, this isn't necessarily in a relationship. Perhaps you are being recognized for your abilities, and this could lead to some sort of opportunity moving forward. Um, so that's really good, because maybe you've been taken for granted in the past or overlooked, you know? So even though you may be very uncomfortable with getting the attention, which is interesting to say because we're talking about Leo here, you still are okay with it. You recognize that perhaps this is a necessary part of things. In order for you to find success at what it is that you want, you have to stand out. So, and you do stand out, like, you naturally stand out, but it's like you're afraid to stand out. Oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared, Leo. Let's see what's going on in your love life. Six of Cups. For your love life, Leo, you have the Six of Cups. So maybe thinking a lot about the past, past relationships, past experiences in your current relationship. Um, this has really got a lot of your focus and attention right now. I don't know if you are trying to learn from it or if you are wallowing. One is beneficial and one is very unhealthy. Can you pick which one? Learning from the situation could be beneficial, and sometimes it takes time to realize what has gone on. And sometimes it involves this ruminating. Other times, you may be focusing too hard on this to the point where it affects potential present and future relationships. So, being in the state of nostalgia can definitely be counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve, especially if like you do want to make a connection with somebody. Like, even, I mean, you stand out, so it's not hard to get somebody's attention, but you're having a hard time giving them your attention because you're thinking about the past here. So, even if you are in a committed relationship, something has gone on to where you're thinking a lot about the past right now, paying a lot of attention to it. I'd say there are some cases where a relationship from the past, there is a greater understanding that comes through, and kind of perhaps an exchange of apologies or closure conversation. In some situations, a partnership could be rekindled through this greater level of understanding, um, in which case, of course, you would be very, very happy about that. Um, but at the same time, you can't just overlook the past. That's the thing. You're not trying to dwell, you're not trying to let it hold you back from moving forward, but you can't just ignore it and act like it never happened. Because then you fall prey to the same situation because you don't recognize that you've already been there and you already know where it's going. Okay, let's move on to Virgo. All right, let's see what's going on with Virgo. What kind of energy will Virgo encounter over the next week? What kind of energy will Virgo encounter? What is going on with Virgo? Virgo, you have the Tower. So, bam, something hits you hard. It could be an actual occurrence, it could be an epiphany. Either way, it's life altering and somewhat unexpected, and definitely shakes the core of who you are at the moment and the foundation of where you are at the moment. So now it's time to kind of work through the pieces, the rubble of what has fallen apart here, and decide how you're going to move forward from this situation. Because what has occurred cannot be changed, it cannot be ignored, it has happened, and it has happened to destroy the current perception of what is going on, because it needs to be changed. There's something you weren't seeing about this situation. That you needed to, something happens, maybe you didn't want it to happen, but it's like it changes you. It changes how you currently experience life. And that may sound dramatic, and in some cases it is dramatic, but in other cases it's more of like a different state of mind that dramatically changes your life, you know. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Virgo. What's going on in Virgo's love life? Virgo, you have the Ten of Swords, so it looks like you may be having a difficult time in your love life. This may be a situation where some pretty harsh things have come to light in your relationship. Maybe you have found out somebody has been cheating. Perhaps it's come to a bitter end after a period of difficulty. Either way, it hurts. It hurts really, really bad, and it's kind of draining to you a little bit. Like, it may, in certain situations, it may actually make you feel sick. Not so dramatic with everybody, but those of you who are severely affected by your neurons, like I know you're already affected by them, but to where it comes to a point of where it can be crippling, this could be really pulling out the rug from underneath you. In which case, as with any sickness or illness, you need to rest. You need to take time to yourself, be patient with yourself, take care of yourself, so that you can work to gather yourself, to work to heal. Because life's not over. Life's not going to stop just because this happened. Life goes on. You got to continue moving forward. Hopefully, learn from your mistakes. Um, I guess in some committed relationships, and this is very rare. This is very rare. Um, so don't automatically think it's about you. So this is very rare. But in some situations, there is an end that is coming to the heartache. And it may be abrupt and unexpected. But you got to go through some pretty intense negative feelings first. It's just part of the process, man. It's part of the process. Sometimes the process sucks, but you gotta trust the process. Let's move on to Libra. What is going on with Libra this week? What kind of energy will Libra encounter over the next week? What's going on with Libra? What kind of energy will Libra encounter over the next week? Libra, you have the Six of Pentacles. You are trying to create and come to some sort of balance. Things have just not been flowing right. They've not been going right. Um, things are just all crazy. It's out of balance. You've been working really, really hard, and it's kind of been a situation where you're overworked and underpaid. You're not seeing the full result of your work, the full benefit of your work, and this is making it hard for you to pay your bills. So there may be some situations where you've had to get a loan or borrow some money, get some form of assistance that you do need to reimburse. It wasn't for free. Sorry, I thought I already clicked this. It wasn't for free, but you're having a very difficult time um, reimbursing said person, said people, whatever, because, overworked and underpaid. So it may be ideal to consider looking elsewhere for different opportunities to where you're not being taken advantage of or underappreciated for the work you have been doing. Okay, let's see what's going on in your love life, Libra. What's going on in Libra's love life? In Libra, we have the Page of Pentacles. this for you. For your love life. So there may be a situation where it's kind of like the beginning stages of getting to know somebody, that initial flirtation, that initial attraction. This is not just a lustful attraction. You do appreciate who they are as an individual, appreciate their mind, if you will. And so this is something that it's not necessarily something you're taking obsessively, but you're not taking it lightly either. You know, you do have a level of feelings involved in the situation. However, you don't really want to put too much effort forward because perhaps you have been taken advantage of in the past, be it long term or recent, and so you're kind of a bit more offish, less likely to put in extra effort because you don't really know where it's going. It could go nowhere at all, and you don't really want to get attached to somebody who does not have the same feelings for you, basically. There may be a situation where you have taken advantage of your partner and taken them for granted. And this is something that you may just be starting to understand. And as a result, if you care enough, you may be taking steps to remedy that. You may be taking steps to do more for your partner. Um, and they're like small tokens of affection. So unfortunately, your partner may not recognize these things that are happening, um, and that could cause confusion. Your partner, since they may not recognize those things, they may just think things are the same as they always are. So this can be a situation where there does need to be some communication about feelings. Which, even though there are feelings there, like communicating about it, it's hard for you. It's not hard for you, but it is. With the right person, it's easy to talk to them, basically. Um, with other people, you're too pragmatic, if you will. Um, it takes a certain kind of person to understand you. And that's not meant as an insult. I just think that you have certain quirks and certain personality traits and ways that you express yourself romantically that it's not the same as most people would, and it's not in ways that most people would imagine that affection would be shown. So it may go unappreciated and unnoticed, and that can be very frustrating to you. So I think some communication, some direct communication, could definitely benefit this situation. But you have to take the time to do that. It's you have to take the time to do that. Like, some of you may be starting to see that you need to put more work in this situation than you wanted. Like, you may be saying, oh, okay, this is going on. Okay, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm gonna move on to a different situation because that's too much work. Well, I promise you, you will encounter the same issue in future situations, relationships, until you're able to learn how to deal with, work through, and cope with it. Okay, moving on to Scorpio. Let's see, what is up with my Scorpios over the next week? What kind of energy will my Scorpios encounter? is going on with Scorpio? Scorpio, you have the sun, so a lot of exciting things happening in your life right now. Things that perhaps you didn't think would happen. So it's very, very, very super exciting. We're starting to understand things from a different perspective. We see things differently now. There is a truth that has been illuminated, and through this illumination, you will grow. The direction you grow in varies depending on the information that you receive. Perhaps you will grow in a career, perhaps a relationship, perhaps, just internally. There could be some sort of epiphany that has occurred that has brought you great joy, and been able to help you to release a lot of pain that you have been struggling with. So that's exciting. It may not be a situation where it's like, oh yeah, I'm having a party, it's so super exciting. It is exciting. It's kind of like the way I just said it, like that's exciting. It may not be super obvious and it may seem so simple, but it is super exciting. It may not come off that way, it may not be perceived that way, but is received. It is received that way. And yeah, there's growth that comes from this. Either through being nurturing a situation or, kind of destruction. Either way, something is going to grow from this. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Scorpio. What kind of energy will you encounter in your love life? Scorpio, you have the Hierophant here. So you may find yourself in a situation where you want to deepen your commitment. So if you're seeing somebody, this is somebody that either you already have a desire to have a deeper commitment with, or you feel like you could. Like this is somebody that could potentially be on that level for you. And then, of course, there are those of you who will be getting engaged. There will be some sort of marriage that occurs, which, of course, and that brings a lot of joy into your life. Now, there may be certain circumstances that are not so ideal, where there is a truth that has come out in regards to your relationship. It's not necessarily a good one. In which case it could really shake the foundation of everything that you know at this moment, everything you've ever known up to this moment about love and relationships, everything you've ever believed. But it has needed to change. I feel like you were given a distorted perception of what a relationship should look like, what it should entail. And while some of those things are ideal and good and positive and beneficial to relationships, there are a lot of other things that were learned and perceived as normal that are actually extremely toxic to relationships. You know why these things were considered normal before is because people had to stay in relationships. It was normal in relationships. It was frowned upon to get a divorce. Well, now more people are getting a divorce, more people are being like, I'm not gonna sit in this situation because it's not healthy. It's not normal. This is not a normal relationship, or this is not a healthy relationship. It may seem normal to you because that's all you're surrounded with, but you may be coming to understand the difference between a healthy and an healthy relationship, in which case you will grow. Okay. All right, let's move on to my Sagittarians. Let's see what's going on in your world over the next week. What is up with Sagittarius? I don't know why, but like I always lean a little bit when I shuffle my cards. Just a tiny little bit. Alright, what is going on with Sagittarius over the next week? What kind of energy will Sagittarius encounter? We have the Queen of Wands. So you are feeling confident. You are feeling fiery. You may be a little aggressive, a little hyper reactive at this moment. But honestly, as odd as it sounds, it's not necessarily because you feel bad. It's because you're feeling yourself and you have no tolerance. That's how you feel. You're like, I'm not taking any bullshit right now. I'm not taking any bullshit. So anything that is even perceived as a slight will have a reaction. And the reaction will be sassy and it will have attitude. And not only that, but the person it comes from will be unapologetic. You just kind of be like, what? Yes, I said it. What are you going to do about it? You know? And if it comes to blows, okay, you know, whatever. It's no big deal to you. Oh my gosh, Sagittarius. You are feeling very feisty, very feisty. You're ready to fight in some situations. It's going to be going a little overboard to where you are ready to fight. In other situations, you can harness this energy and like get a lot of things achieved if you're able to channel it in a positive direction. Use your confidence and channel it into what you're trying to achieve in life. You know, I'm confident, you know, put that energy, that aggressive energy, put that energy into your goals. Be aggressive about your goals. It may be a little difficult for you because you have some misdirected rage right here. Or rather, you know, it's not necessarily misdirected, it just needs to be redirected because when it is directly directed, it just doesn't work out so well. It just doesn't work out so well for you or for the other parties involved. Oh, behave, Sagittarius. And I already know what you're saying. Never. All right. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Sagittarius. What is going on in Sagittarius' love life? What is up with Sagittarius over the next? Okay. Okay, Sagittarius, you have the Strength card. So you are feeling strong, you are feeling sassy, you are feeling regal. Um, and you are feeling like you don't have to tell anybody else how the fuck you're feeling. You know, any type of emotions right now, you're kind of dealing with them on your own. You're not really sharing them with other people, even if you're seeing somebody else, you know, you're not really sharing it with them. And it's not necessarily because you're trying to hide how you feel. You just don't feel like talking about it right now. You know, like maybe at some point you will because you like to talk. But right now, we're not at that point right now. Right now, you are trying to get your emotions under control so that you can deal with this energy in a constructive way. You may be feeling very, very frisky in your love life, so you may be highly sexed at this moment. Just be safe, use protection, just be safe. There's nothing wrong with getting frisky. Just be safe about it. Protect yourself. Your personality in relationships right now may be a little bit overbearing. So if there are people, if you are in a partnership with somebody who is just as fiery as you are, this could definitely cause some conflict for sure. With the egos clashing, definitely. But at the same time, it's a lot of passion. It's a lot of intense passion, and that's why when it clashes, it's so massive. But also when it's being successful, when things are going good, it's going really good. You know. All right, let us move on to Capricorn. What is up, my Cappies? Let's see what's going on with Capricorn over the next week. What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter over the next week? What is going on with Capricorn? Let's see what's going on with Capricorn over the next week. What kind of energy will they encounter? Okay, we have the wheel. So it's time for a major change in our lives. Um, you don't know necessarily where you're going. You just know you're no longer going in the direction you've been going in. It may look the same, but something is different. If it's not drastically different, it may look the same, but something is different. Something has changed inside of you if it has not changed externally. And if it has changed inside of you, it's just a matter of time before it changes externally, because it's just going to be more and more difficult to fake it. It's going to be more and more difficult to be present in these interactions and enjoy them. The interactions you have with people, um, you're not going to be able to fake it, basically. It's going to get to a point where you may have to fake it to maintain the status quo, and it's going to get to a point where you just can't do it anymore. You just can't. You just can't do it. All right, let's see what's going on in your love life. What's going on in Capricorn's love life over the next week? Capricorn, we have the Empress. You are entering into new phases in your love life, be you single or attached. Um, this is a new phase. Some of you may be finding out about a pregnancy, in which case is majorly life altering, Um, you may be becoming a mother. This could just be the beginning of a relationship that you were both nurturing. Um, in some cases, some unfortunate cases, you may have thought that something was going to start, that there would be something new, and unfortunately, it did not work out. Pretty freaking heartbreaking. Pretty freaking heartbreaking, because it changes the direction in which you're headed. Like, you were counting on this moving forward in your life. This was going to kind of set the tone for the next period of your life, and now that is gone, so you don't know what to do. That may be very difficult for you at the moment. But even if that is the case, you're entering into a new phase in regards to your love life and the way you see things, the way you experience things. You're not taking, there's something, you're just not taking things for granted anymore. I feel like in some unfortunate cases, there may have been a loss here, and that has caused you to really think about mortality and focus on how important life is. You know, not thinking about mortality in terms of focusing hardcore on death and being negative. No, looking at it and seeing how precious life is and how some things just shouldn't be taken for granted. And again, it leads you into a new and a better place for more growth in your love life, be you single or committed. Right? Okay, let's move on to Aquarius. Since the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Alright, what's going on with Aquarius over the next week? What is going on with Aquarius? What kind of energy will Aquarius encounter over the next week? Okay, we have Temperance. For Aquarius right now, you're just trying to grab your bearings, gain your bearings, whatever. You are trying to get back into balance. Things have been kind of crazy. You haven't quite been feeling yourself. You've been feeling off, and you're trying to get back to yourself, basically. You're trying to get everything in your life in order because it seems like everything has just been chaotic. It's been chaotic, and you're trying to bring all the pieces back together and to reconcile. You are doing it. It's just hard. Some cases it may be harder than other cases. See what's going on in your love life, Aquarius. See what is going on in Aquarius' love life over the next week. Aquarius, you have the Two of Pentacles. So you may be feeling very uncertain about what is going on in your relationship or situationship. One moment you feel one way, the next you feel another. One moment you want to move forward, the next you want to run away. You know, you're just kind of having a hard time making a decision. Again, things have been kind of out of balance, out of sorts. And all around, you know, it has affected your relationship. And so you're just trying to see if you can juggle everything and if you can actually move forward in this relationship and continue to nurture it while you are trying to get yourself back into balance. Because it's like if you put all your energy into trying to make your relationship a healthy one, but you don't put any energy into healing yourself, you're kind of like shooting yourself in the foot a little bit because it's within you that affects the relationships you have with other people and affects the way you behave towards other people. So you're just kind of trying to figure, okay, can I do this? You know, I'm having a hard enough time as it is. Do I really want to take on the responsibility of going through these difficult times with my partner at the same time, etc., etc. You're single, you know, you may be trying to decide whether you even want a relationship. Perhaps you have people that are interested in you and you're like, maybe, but not really, but maybe, but not really. So you have a lot of indecision going on in regards to your love life. But I think once you are able to find more balance within yourself, that it will echo out into your relationships and you will gain more clarity on how to move forward. Okay. Last but not least, my patient Pisces. Honestly, I'm sure it gets tiring to be so patient all the time. It gets tiring to be so understanding all the time, doesn't it, Pisces? All right, let's see what's going on in your world over the next week. What kind of energy will Pisces encounter over the next week? How will it affect them? Pisces, you have the Six of Swords. You may be going on a road trip, traveling, perhaps for business, perhaps for education, perhaps for both. um, Wherever you are going, it's going to take you in directions that you could not consider before. It's going to birth a phase in your life that you could not have ever perceived, but that you see and find that your difficulties have prepared you for, which is quite convenient, isn't it? Like, at least all that pain and trauma was actually meant for something, it was meant to prepare you for this. It's meant to prepare you for this next phase in your life. It's still going to be hard. It's just something you have experience with, and you can deal with in a better way now that you've had experience with it. Um, I think that you may be just trying to have faith in life in general, trying to have faith in where the universe is going to take you. Because at this point, you have not had any control. You have desperately wanted control. It's been out of your control. It's driven you crazy. You've been through so much shit. And then if you are coming to find, after getting so negative or so frustrated, you're coming to find that it was all leading to this. It was all preparing you for this moment. And no matter how this turns out, no matter what the result may be, you can handle it. You got this. You've been here before. This is familiar territory, even if it's not. It's like, even though it looks different, it's the same. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Pisces. Let's see what's going on in Pisces' love life. What is it, Pisces? Pisceans? Let's see what's going on. Either or. Okay, Pisces, you have the Nine of Wands. Right now, you may have your guard up to a certain extent in a relationship because it seems like things have been very difficult. There's been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of confusion. Perhaps there's been misunderstandings, and it may seem like y'all can't quite get to where you want to be in your relationship dynamic. So you may be at a point where you're kind of like taking a break and keeping to yourself um, in terms of your relationships or lack thereof, because you know that this is needed for you to actually reach your destination. Like, I feel like there is something in the way of you moving forward in your relationships, but this is a necessary pause. Kind of like I was saying, like, things may be uncomfortable. You may have cursed the gods above, but it's like it's all for a purpose. And as you're starting to realize that in life, you're starting to realize that in regards to your relationships as well. So you may have been detaching yourself a little bit, perhaps. You're starting to see that it's like, again, you can't quite get to where you're trying to be, and now is the time for you to figure out if it's just because life is difficult or if it's just not meant to be. Um, Maybe some of you who are you're really just trying to like see your significant other, and just stuff just keeps getting in the way, and it's just extremely frustrating, But that's this week. It could ease up, But again, it's not as bad as it may feel and as you may think. This period of time is actually necessary. It is, no matter how uncomfortable it is or how frustrated you are. It's just you just got to trust the flow. You just got to trust the flow. You may not like it, but it's when you resist the flow. It's when you fight against the tide, the current of the tide, maybe even the tide. When you fight against the current, that things get a lot more difficult than they have to be. So, um, do not be so stubborn. Be more not manageable. Is malleable the right word? Be more like putty or Play-Doh or clay, where you can be molded in different ways. Not for a chameleon purpose, not for a sneaky purpose, but just for being open to life and education and experiences. You know? Okay, you guys, so those are your readings for the next week. I hope they resonate in some way, shape, or form. I do have a Patreon. The link that I'm starting to get going, the link is in the bio if you guys want to check that out. Otherwise, I will see y'all again very soon.